My congressional elections project focused on the Senate races in Ohio and Indiana. Jumping right in with Ohio, the overwhelming majority of the population is white. Approximately half of the population of Ohio is female, the other half is male. 14% of the population is in poverty, and the median household income was $50,674. 90% of the population graduated from high school, only approximately 27 graduated from college with a bachelor's degree. 6.6% of the population does not have health insurance. There are approximately 780,000 veterans living in the state of Ohio. Some of the major industries of Ohio include aerospace and aviation, agriculture and food processing, bioscience, bioproducts, corporate and professional services, distribution and logistics, instruments, controls, electronics, manufacturing, motor vehicle and parts manufacturing, and polymers and advanced materials. Clearly, the industries of Ohio are varied. Ohio leans Republican. Ohio is 40,860 square miles. The population of Ohio is estimated to be 11,658,609 by the United States Census Bureau in 2017. Ohio is largely rural with a few metropolitan centers, including Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Columbus. The two candidates for the 2018 Ohio Senate race were Democrat incumbent Sherrod Brown and his Republican opponent, U.S. Representative Jim Renacci. Senator Sherrod Brown is a white male. He's Lutheran. He graduated from both Yale University and The Ohio State University. He has more campaign money than his opponent. He's the incumbent for the Ohio Senate seat, having served in that position since 2006, just 12 years. He has a consistent record for serving in public office beginning in 1975. Brown is a career politician, having begun his career right after his graduation from OSU. Brown cares about a wide range of issues. His website has a long list of his main issues, the majority of which are social justice in nature. He is described as honorable by those who know him. His biography highlights his bipartisan work and his efficacy in passing bills. Brown was born, raised, and educated in Ohio. Renacci is a 59-year-old white man. He earned a BS from the Indiana University of Pennsylvania. He has less campaign money than his opponent. Renacci currently serves as the Republican U.S. Representative from Ohio's 16th Congressional District. He worked his way up to his current position, paving way for his participation in the 2018 U.S. Senate race. Before becoming a politician, Renacci called himself an entrepreneur. He typically votes Republican. On his website, he states, "Let's put Ohio first," which is highly reminiscent of Trump's America First idea. His topic of interests include immigration, abortion, and the Second Amendment, as well as the economy. Given unsubstantiated attack ads that his campaign released against his opponent, he clearly isn't running his campaign morally. In his biography, Renacci relies on Trump to gain clout. He is not from Ohio, but he moved here over 30 years ago to seek business opportunities and credits the state with helping him achieve his dreams. Brown and Renacci ran their campaigns in different ways. Brown's campaign is candidate-centered rather than party-centered. He does not emphasize that he is running as a Democrat. Instead, he focuses on what he believes and his platform, even though much of his platform does align with a typical Democratic platform. The central theme of his campaign is fighting for the working man. His campaign ads are generally positive, highlighting what he can do for the state of Ohio. He highlights hard workers and connects his messages to this idea of him fighting for the working people of Ohio. His campaign does not use smear tactics. His campaign heavily emphasizes healthcare as an issue for Ohioans. One typically Democrat topic that he has avoided is gun control. Nowhere is this topic found on his website. Now, to engage with his constituency, he goes to individual communities often and participates in debates, and he engages with both new and traditional media, going on news and talk shows and being active on social media. Brown specifically tries to distance himself from the current administration. Instead, he aligns himself as an independent man for the people, marketing himself as a neutral man that will serve the state's best interests, regardless of partisanship. Representative Renacci is running his campaign with a party-centered focus. He heavily aligns himself with the Republican Party, specifically with President Donald Trump, who has endorsed him. Renacci's campaign theme directly evokes President Donald Trump's Make America Great Again slogan. His campaign ran attack ads on his opponent, Sherrod Brown. While his opponent did have President Donald Trump's endorsement, I predicted that Brown would win. My main reasons for predicting this was that Brown had the incumbency advantage. Additionally, he was polling more favorably, more consistently than his opponent. Brown also put much more money into his campaign, and Renacci's fundraising doesn't compare to Brown's in the slightest. For these reasons, I believe that Brown had a good chance of winning the Senate race for Ohio, which he did. He won the state with 53.2% of the vote. As expected, the bigger cities, including Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, voted Democrat, and the more rural portions of Ohio voted Republican. The results were admittedly a little closer than I expected, especially because of the large gap in campaign finances between the two candidates. However, it makes sense that Renacci was unable to beat Brown, who had the incumbency advantage, and because he spent significantly less money than Brown did on his campaign. Moving on to the Indiana Senate race. The overwhelming majority of the population is white, and approximately half is female and the other half is male. 14% of the population is in poverty. The median household income was $50,433. 88% of the population graduated from high school, and only 25% graduated from college with a bachelor's degree. 9% of the population does not have health insurance. There are approximately 410,000 veterans living in the state of Indiana. 44% of the population are very religious. The major industries of Indiana are agriculture, both livestock and crops, manufacturing, mining, and services such as real estate, finance, and insurance businesses. Indiana leans Republican. Indiana is 35,826 square miles. The population was estimated to be 6,666,818 by the U.S. Census Bureau in 2017. The state is largely rural. The two candidates for the 2018 Indiana Senate race were Democrat incumbent Joe Donnelly and his Republican opponent Mike Braun. Joe Donnelly is a 63-year-old white male. He has both a bachelor's and law degree from the University of Notre Dame. Donnelly worked his way up to his current position beginning in local government in 1997 and graduating to state government in 2007. Previously a lawyer, Donnelly is now a politician. According to his website, the issues Donnelly is committed to are education, veterans and service members, jobs and the economy, trade, healthcare, the opioid epidemic, and seniors. He is portrayed as a likable working man. Donnelly started his family and his business in Indiana. Braun is a white Catholic male. He served as the representative for Indiana's 63rd District from 2014 to 2017, but resigned from the position to focus on his run for the Senate. His profession is a self-proclaimed businessman. His platform issues include the Second Amendment, job creation, and health care. His stances on these issues are in line with standard Republican beliefs. Drain the Swamp is on his website, therefore he aligns himself strongly with Trump. He was born and raised in Indiana. The two candidates also conducted their campaigns in different ways. Donnelly's campaign is candidate-centered and has a focus on the people of the state of Indiana. He aligns himself as a bipartisan solution for the Hoosiers. His campaign theme is fighting for Hoosiers. Again, like his Democrat counterpart in Ohio, he avoids the topic of gun control. Donnelly is very hands-on on the ground and engaging with his constituency, visiting every county in Indiana. Braun is running his campaign with a party-centered focus. He aligns himself with the Republican Party and Donald Trump. The central theme of his campaign is that Indiana wants to drain the swamp. Some of his ads focus on him being more qualified than his opponent to serve as senator for Indiana. He focuses on his opponent's shortcomings. Braun goes on traditional Republican-aligned media such as Fox News. He was endorsed by President Donald Trump. I predicted that Republican candidate Mike Braun would win the Senate race in Indiana. The current state of the nation is unpredictable with the current administration, and even further, the state of Indiana has been in a bit of turmoil since Mike Pence became vice president. So it's safe to say that the voters are not very pleased with the way things are going in the state. So this may prompt them to make change and ultimately flip the Senate seat. Braun is running a party-centric campaign on one of Donald Trump's most popularized slogans, which leads me to believe that many Republican voters will turn out to cast their votes for Braun. This belief is further bolstered by the fact that Donald Trump heartily endorsed Braun, and Trump himself won the state by 20%. This will likely further mobilize voters. Additionally, the presence of a third-party candidate in the race may very well split voters between the more liberal ones, making it more likely for the Republican candidate to win the race. In addition, the fact that Braun raised more money than his opponent also gives him a better shot at winning the race. Mike Braun did win the race with 50.7% of the votes. The race was extremely tight, just as predicted. The fact that there was a third-party candidate did not necessarily affect the final election results as I thought it may have, as we have seen in other races throughout both distant and recent history. Even if all of those votes that had gone toward Britain had gone toward incumbent Donnelly, the Republican candidate Mike Braun still would have won by approximately 40,000 votes. In conclusion, this project helped me be more aware of how campaigns work and how voters are influenced by the candidates themselves and how they and their teams choose to run their campaigns. Working through this project solidified all of the concepts that we discussed in class. and the way the races turned out made sense.